Everyone, welcome to Lauren's Scraplot and my weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I am excited to show you a great little card using the North Pole Delivery Suite. If you do not own this suite, you probably want to add it to your wish list because it's absolutely adorable. I've shown a few cards over the last few weeks using this suite, so check out my inventory of videos on Lauren's Scraplot. But if you don't have it and it's not something that you're wanting to add to your collection, you can also use the measurements from this card and your supplies at home to recreate the fold that I'm going to show you and hopefully come out with something that you love at the end of the day. So if you're interested in the products from this suite, the North Pole Delivery can be found on page 28 and 29 of your holiday catalog. There are so many ideas that Stampin' Up! Has offered, and then of course a great plethora of products that coordinate in this suite. So the Jolly Delivery stamp set and bundle are probably the most common things that you've seen kicking around. People have been making and creating little critters and these boxes all over the place. And then the designer series paper is fantastic because not only does it have great, fun, vibrant images, it also coordinates with some of the dies from this set. Of course, some of them don't complement each other and you could fussy cut them if you really wanted to, but the kicker for this set is really you could just buy this pack of paper and make a whole bunch of cards too, which is kind of what I'm doing today because these two sheets down here, they are die cut sheets. They are not fully printed. They're actually sheets that are printed with little images, and all you need to do is pop out those critters. I'm not going to do it fully because I don't want to lose those little corgis, but you can see I've grabbed a few already and popped them out. One of the cards here I can show you that I did back in September was this little guy here. So it's using a few of those house decals and mailboxes. And then today I'm going to focus a little bit more on some of the designer series paper and the little, a couple other critters in here. So you can always find this stuff at my website, laurenurbonus.stampinup.net. If you're in Canada and you need a demonstrator, let me know. I'm more than happy to get you set up. But if you want to just craft, let's go. Let me show you how this opens. See, we're using designer series paper to make the front of our card so you can see both sides of that beautiful paper from the front of your own version of this. So I'm going to move him over and we're going to start with our base. So whatever color you choose, you'll need a 5.5 by 5.5 piece. And we're going to put a score line. Technically it would face like this, I guess, on your score line, your scoreboard. We're going to put a score mark at 4 1/4. Okay? So that when you fold this over, you have just this tiny little flap. Now, for my card on the left here, I chose two little doggos. For this card on the right, I have a little bear and fox. So I actually think I might try to do a reverse card here, just so you can see how both directions would look. They're going to be exactly the same whether you lay it out this way or this way. It's just how your paper is going to line up. Okay, so our first step would be the same regardless, and then you can make a few decisions from there. So let's do a couple steps. Let's start with a piece of white on the inside. This is going to be 4 by 5 1/4, and in this large inside space is where you're going to add that. I always suggest coming back at a later date or time and adding, you know, a stamped image or a sentiment on the inside of your card. Maybe you've got some extra designer series paper you can throw in there. But until I know who my cards are for, I like to keep this area open so that I can do what I want in there. Okay, so here we go. Here's my reverse card. See, this one's opening this way. This one's going to open this way. So on the right hand side of this card, I'm going to put a little strip of designer series paper. Now this designer series paper is actually the back side and the scraps that are left over of my card pieces, but of course you can use whatever you have. It doesn't have to be the same. This one is going to be 1 inch by 5 1/4, and we'll just put it in this little space here. Once again, at this moment, see, the card could be completely reversed and be identical to this one. So, doesn't matter at the moment what you're doing. Pop that guy on. I'm going to jump over to my decal for a moment here because I want you guys to pick your critters, because in the packages each animal has one facing left and one facing right. So I've picked a yellow doggy facing left and this doggy here facing right, and you could evenly have, you know, the other option too. For the bear, here we go. We've got one facing right and one facing left. We're going to pop these two up on dimensionals and just get our decal laid out so you can decide at this moment whether you want it opening to the left or the right. So let's build this. We need to first cut a stylish shaped circle from the largest of the dies and one from, I believe this is the second smallest of those dies. So we need both of these. This is the third smallest. Okay. This large one, you're going to do some embossing if you want to. I picked one of our easy to use embossing folders. This is the Timeless Plaid embossing folder, and ran that through my cut and emboss machine. Then my two little critters, I'm going to start with whichever one's going in the back and pop that one up on dimensionals first. Keep in mind, some of your critters, like this puppy for instance, they might not quite fit on the circle, so just keep your dimensionals in the center of their bodies. And then he can go on the top of your card here, kind of as much as it can fit, like so. And then his partner in crime, of course, is going to be the fox. So if you want, you can put dimensionals kind of on the fox head and his shoulders, and he will rest on the bottom of your bear. Or you can put them down towards his tail and his feet, and he'll be the same height as the bear. Personally, I always like to give a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to do his head and just the top part of his body. And then he'll sit right on the bear's feet. Stands him up quite nicely. And yeah, I think that's cute. All right, so there's my two little critters. Now, the reason I'm saying build this first is because you need to decide how it's going to sit on your card. So bring this back, and sure, let's cut this piece, okay? This is a piece of designer series paper. It measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. I apologize for jumping around on you guys. We're not attaching this at the moment though. Cut it, rest it inside the card here, and just imagine with me what happens if you put the bear and the fox here and your sentiment there. Do they fit? Yes. But if you turn this around, you have this facing the opposite direction. You might be able to get a little bit more space in behind your bear with your sentiment, okay? So it's up to you. You have to kind of play around with this card, see what you like the best, see what works for you, what kind of makes your critters stand out, whether you decide you want this attached right or left. So I don't know. I'm a little torn because I think it looks cute up here, but it does take away from some of the writing. do it back here, take a little less of the space. I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so I've decided I want mine opening to the right. What I'm going to do is rest my designer series paper exactly over the white piece that's under. See that white piece? Now I'm going to put just a little adhesive along this right side so that it connects to my flap. If I was doing it the opposite, of course, I would be connecting on the left side. So hopefully that makes sense, but this gives you two options of opening right or left with your card. Just one or two lines of adhesive very, very close to that right-hand side. I'll have to reline this up on the card before I close it. But the key is to put your designer paper exactly over your white. Even if you've done the white a little crooked, it'll still be hidden if you put the designer paper exactly over top of it. Okay, then you'll close up this flap, like so, and this one's opening now towards the left. Here's my little decal that I'm going to pop up on dimensionals. And then before you add the small one, you need a sentiment of your choice. So I grabbed the Jolly Delivery stamp set and the Hoping This Christmas is the Most Magical Yet. But you can grab anything you own or a different sort of sentiment if that's your preference as well. And I'm just going to grab my Real Red ink pad as well to finish that off. So there's my little bear and my fox. Go. Got my Real Red. There we are. There are some great little gems as well that are part of this suite, these cute little dots. So if you want, you can always add those as some extra decor and decals and stuff like that. Now, when we are attaching our circle though, let's just remember that we've put dimensionals under this circle already. So if I was to put only one layer of dimensionals under this, I would end up with a very lopsided looking circle. So figure out where you'd like this to sit. It can be kind of under his ear up here, or it could be under his tush back here. Whichever way you want it to sit, you're only putting dimensionals under the part that touches the designer paper and nothing under the part that touches the embossed circle. If you want it to be popped up more, then you would put two dimensionals stacked on top of each other under the top part and one dimensional on the section here. So let me show you how you would do that. The one dimensional option is always there, but if you want two, you have to take the backings off the ones you've laid down and stack another one right on top. Okay, so there's two dimensionals in these stacks, which means it will be higher than this circle. So that circle has one underneath and now one on top. 1 + 1 = 2. And we can tuck this in. There we go. See, doesn't matter whether it opens to the left or the right. They look cute either way. So I hope you like this. If you did, just so you guys know, if you're in Canada, I have a all-day stamping retreat on October 25th that I'm using this suite for half the day. We're using Traditions of Christmas for the other half. And I have to-go kits for anyone in Canada. You would get a video tutorial very similar to this where I have all the pieces cut and prepped and I mail those out to you. And then you just have to add sentiments and, you know, put all of the stuff together. So if you're interested in more details, there is a link in the description below, and you can click on that and you can register for the event. Shipping's available, of course, across Canada, and you would be eligible for all of the different add-ons for, you know, discounted dies and whatnot. It's all listed in there. If you have questions, like it's not clear, then please reach out. I'm happy to explain for you. And also a side note, if you got lost at all, because I'm so sorry, I jumped around a little on this one, the measurements for the card are in the description below. So you can go back, cut all your pieces, and then come and assemble along with me. But I tried to give you 2 different options of assembly for this card, so you can pick and choose which way you want your cards to open up when you've decided what you're using, I guess, on them. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys are having a wonderful fall, and I look forward to crafting with you all in the future every Tuesday night. Thanks for joining me for Show Me How It's Done. Bye.